Becca is torturing herself about the afterlife. She has concerns whether she is going to make it into heaven.
Hell of a dilemma to have to think about for sure.
Welcome to Cliff Alerts.
Today, we're going to be talking about Lifetime Network's reality based TV series, Married at First Sight, season number 17, episode number 11.
But before we get into it, please like, share, and subscribe. Hit that like button as well and send us your comments because this is an interesting conversation to have.
Yeah, apparently they had a conversation the night before and not been able to get on the same page with Hubby Austin about, just this whole component in their relationship about, the existence of God and the existence of heaven and hell.
Now, I find it curious that she right now is torturing herself about the afterlife.
In
Then,
her
in
perspective,
her perspective, it hasn't been proven that there is a God. She's not a believer. Why this is a concern?
seemed like a contradiction of sorts from my end, and I would say that she and Austin are definitely not on the same page as it relates to that because he was raised to believe in God. He was raised in the church, I believe he is what he said,
Yeah.
and that a whole lot of ground to be made up between those two on that particular issue.
We Austin believe if you don't accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, you're gonna go to hell. Why is she being tortured about whether she goes to heaven or hell? So it tells me God has been speaking and she got questions. The word says, God said, come, let us reason together. So he's not afraid of what Becca is going to say. He's not afraid of her confusion. He's not afraid of her denying he exists. So I would think that if she really wants that question that she seems to be tortured and she gets upset, she just needs to go to God.
Yeah, I agree with what you said, but that would require her at some point in time to believe in something that she claims she doesn't in order to go to someone or go to her creator and and ask that very question that you referenced.
Do you see the point is she has questions. That's why she feels tortured. So in an effort not to feel tortured about the afterlife, unpack that a little more.
Agree, but the question in her mind is to whom do you ask that question? And that's one of the reasons why I don't think that it's part of her mindset or something that she would even consider.
My suggestion is she go to the source. So just ask a question, hey, do you exist or not? Because I don't believe in you. Uh, talk to me. There's one thing he give us is free will. She is free to believe or not to believe. And if she has a question, just ask.
I agree with that part of it. One of the things that I would ask Becca to consider is this. It's very easy as an individual to not believe in something that you can't see, okay? But how do you explain the existence of the clouds, the sun? How do you explain the existence of all these things uh, that man did not create himself?
Well, that's a question for her to answer.
Exactly.
But what I'm trying to be specific about is we all gonna die one way or the other,
Yeah, this is a
and
temporary stop
this is
for us.
temporary, and no one has come back from the afterlife to say whether there's a heaven and hell. I personally won't take any chances, but because she is where she is, and you have to accept people where they are, start researching, and her research will probably lead her to some place because God has been speaking and he want to have a conversation with her. So I would say just let's talk. That doesn't mean like she's a believer, but that means that she opens herself just to have a conversation so she can figure this thing out. Because I don't see how she's living in the now and looking to be in a good marriage, a healthy marriage, and she is so broken up about the possibility of hell. She's looking to Austin to provide that information because he has a walk with God. But one thing she may not know is the walk we have is individual. Some people are there, some people are just at the starting line, some people are the middle, and you can't fault them for that. You have to meet people where they are and show them love. Love with your words, love with your encouragement, and love just accepting what she believes. But you have to accept where people are because God gave all of us a choice whether we want Him or whether we want to reject Him.
Mm, I think that's well said. I think that Becca is in a place where she admittedly said she's feeling less than, and that's within the context of their marriage as it relates to this component. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
and Pastor Cal made a point to her, I believe, further along in the discussion, where he mentioned to her that the acceptance of Jesus is altogether different in terms of one's belief than the acceptance of the principles that Jesus outlined and walked by as it relates to his word.
Right.
Okay. So I think that there's that conflict or that dynamic that's going on with her as well. So I'm glad Pastor absolutely made that uh, remark to her for her to consider and contemplate, not only for her, but also for Austin as well. Ways God, from my vantage point, works in infinite ways. Okay, he's got any number of ways to deal with getting someone's attention. One of the ways he does it is through other people.
Well, I don't know if she considers God is a God of love,
Absolutely.
and she is on her way to, or maybe in love with her husband.
Hmm.
So
Another
perhaps,
one of God's creations.
so perhaps that love is overwhelming her in such a way that she is now looking towards her future
Hmm.
and she has questions about what she has chosen to believe.
Austin says he is open to figuring out this component with Becca, and Pastor reminds both of them that they need to focus as it relates to their marriage on what is working, not what.
They got photographs of their wedding and they looked at them and was smiling and happy and joyful because it reminded them of a happy time. And later on, they went ice skating.
And as they were roasting marshmallows after they went skating, Austin basically said, "Hey, look, I'm very lucky to have a life partner like Becca." Becca says for her part, trust is the key issue between the two of us. And as long as we can continue to develop that, I'm all in.
So the next day, we see Austin talking to Lindsay, Becca's friend. And Lindsay said that she's a Catholic and she does not believe Becca is going to hell simply because Becca has a whole lot of good principles that they mutually agree on. And as a result, she doesn't think that that is where Becca is going to end up. So I guess they're gonna work it out the best they can. They had a little dinner, and Cameron and Claire, Emily and Brennan, and of course Austin and Becca. Becca asked the group whether they had any advice they would give each other had they known the issues they would face in their month-long marriages. Austin said that he would have gotten more in tune with his emotional side. Hopefully, Becca will get that question resolved because it seems like she is depending on Austin to answer those questions for her.
Or help her get answers.
Right. And it's something that she has to explore, not him.
I'm going to disagree with you there. I think it's something that starts with her, but that it continues with them, not just her. She's got to make the decision to start.
She has to make that decision, not him.
Right, but she has to realize that she's not alone.
Maya Angelou said that once you figure out that you're gonna die, everything else is doable. And I'm not quoting her word for word, but she's right.
Paraphrasing.
When I heard it, I started laughing. She's absolutely right. There's gonna come a time when I gotta go.
Yeah, from here to someplace else.
Right.
Yep.
And I gotta make sure that the someplace else I go is gonna be a place full of peace because I can't take any chances. I don't want to take any chances. So
And I think over time, she will come to a place where she understands a lot more
Yes.
about not only who God is, who Jesus Christ is, but also how that plays or should play a huge role in her life.
And if she don't, that's her choice as well.
Absolutely, free
So
will,
there it is,
free
free
will.
will.
God is who He is, always will be, irrespective of whether anybody on this side of life believes in Him or not.
All these things will wash away, and you start getting more and more wisdom. And as the word says, as you get wisdom, get knowledge, and as you get knowledge, make sure you get an understanding so you could tie all of them together.
Understand?